and guys were like breaking themselves. I couldn't watch that part, but they had like running challenges. They put a ball on a drone and they flew the drone really high, and Odell was trying to catch it.
Like
other guys trying to catch it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's really stupid.
I vaguely remember it was pretty cool. I gotta admit, the skills challenge was actually pretty cool.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. That just goes to show how little I pay attention to NFL All-Star Game weekend.
You're not the only one.
No, definitely not.
It was in Hawaii or something.
Yeah, they was
Aloha Stadium.
I think they're moving it to Florida.
Are
Orlando.
they? Okay. Again,
Orlando, right?
I don't pay any attention to it.
Joe, can I ask you something?
What?
How do you feel about the Bills getting close to that playoff spot? You think it's possible?
It's absolutely possible.
Oh, yeah, of course
it's
he's gonna say
almost
that.
completely improbable, because I was talking about this the other day with, I think, Jacob, actually.
Yeah.
For the Bills to get the playoffs, it's a lot of things need to happen in a very specific way.
Of course.
For instance, the Chargers need to lose, the Chiefs need to clinch, and the Buffalo needs to beat the Patriots.
Yeah, that was just
at Gillette. And
that's gonna be
those
hard.
three things happening, very rough. Buffalo basically needed to play at home again against the Patriots and have it blizzard worse than ever before.
Well, no, what they really needed was for their idiot head coach to not bench Tyrod Taylor. That game's going to cost you.
Well, we'll give him a slide on just one occasion because he's brand new. All right, it's the Bills.
I hear you.
It's the Bills.
It could be worse.
It could be a lot worse. It
Can't
could
be
be
like the
4 straight
Giants.
Super Bowls.
Exactly.
All right, Joe. Thanks for the call.
It's very interesting to see what's going to happen with the Bills. It's very interesting for me, at least, as a football fan. It's
Absolutely.
going to be crazy.
All right, Joe. Thanks for the call, and congrats on Student of the Year.
Which I should have won, but okay, Joe.
No,
See
I
ya.
should have won it.
You sound like two
Here we
babies
go.
over here fighting over the
Yeah,
studio.
right.
Over the
I won.
No, I won.
Definitely show of the year, I'll tell you that. Over that horrible show that is Radio Rumble. No, I'm just kidding. Justin Greenberg.
Oh, my God.
Justin Greenberg's a friend of mine. I left him a holiday gift in his mailbox. He's a great guy.
Jacob is such a giver, man.
I really am. I'm taking you to the net game tonight.
Yeah, hey, look
Look at you.
You know what?
you go.
See, you guys messed up my bottom of the
great night.
You guys already messed it up. But all right,
I have a good one.
Just
No one
save
takes
it.
mine.
Oh, no, I'm not going to say it now.
Dominic?
since you already said.
We got to make it fast. Fantasy Frenzy.
Oh, well, I mean, I'm eliminated, so there's really nothing to talk about. If you really want me to be
You
honest.
should have listened to me.
No, because I wanted to win 11
Yes.
straight.
If
No.
you had listened to me and benched your players,
If Leonard
you'd have been in the
Leonard
finals.
Fournette played last Sunday, I would have won.
Yeah.
I would have won. He would have got more points than Rod Smith. That's it. That's all I have to say. Leonard Fournette was my cause. That's
Fair
it.
enough.
All right, Eric.
I lost $500. I was a runner-up, but I did win 100.
Whoa.
Holy moly.
Who are you betting with?
All
He
right.
still lost even when Todd Gurley had 44 points. Listen to
50.
that.
50 in my league.
I lost when Julio Jones went off on 200 receiving yards.
Was I playing you that week?
Yes.
Oh, I remember that. I was so scared. I thought I was going to lose.
No one else on my team did jack squat. It was so annoying. Oh,
Literally
God.
what happened to you happened to me in the finals at the worst time.
I was so infuriating. But, Brandon, I'm going to kick your ass this week in fantasy. You're going to I'm winning the consolation bracket.
Okay.
Brandon, that better make you motivated to at least
I'm
set your
going to
lineup.
ask Dom to help me out with my lineup, all right? So we will make
I'll
sure
drop
you-
some players.
Yeah, we'll make sure you won't
Players
win.
for Brandon. No, they won't clear waivers in time.
You're right. Yeah.
All right,
messed
on
up.
that note, let's take a quick break. Don't go anywhere, because we'll have an exclusive interview with Lew Freedman coming up next. He's the author of Connie, Mack's first Dynasty. It's coming up next on Beyond the Game on the Voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
We first opened about 10 years ago. We were small, just a few of us, but it was exciting. I always dreamt of having my own business. It was kind of slow at first, but things started picking up. We had big plans, but in our wildest dreams, we never thought we'd have this much work. Yeah, with so many businesses caught off guard by the storm, Reed Waste Management has never been busier.
What will become of your business after a disaster? Nearly 2/3 of businesses aren't prepared for an emergency, and 40% of businesses that experience a disaster never recover. Make an emergency plan now, before it's too late. For a free online tool that helps you develop an emergency plan to keep your business up and running should disaster strike, visit ready.gov/business. Brought to you by the Federal Emergency Management Agency, the American Red Cross, and the Ad Council.
Yeah. Hey, check it out. I'm gonna need you to turn up your volume.
No. I'm supposed to say that. Come on. Hey, look, check it out. It's your guy, DJ Steph, the saucy man himself. Tune into It's Saucy, where I play nothing but hip-hop and reggae music.
1, 2, 3, hit me!
Wednesday nights at 10 p.m. on the voice of Nassau Community College on 90.3 WHPC.
Listen!
Hey, I'm Reba McEntire. Building my career has taken a lot of dedication, sacrifice, and support from my family. But nothing like the dedication and sacrifice the men and women of our armed forces and their families demonstrate every day. So whether you're currently serving, a veteran, or a military family member, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for all you do. It's what you do that allows my family to enjoy all the freedoms of our great country. May God bless you and God bless the USA. This message is brought to you by the U.S. Air Force.
You are listening to Beyond the Game on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I am Jacob Volk. Sitting across from me is Brandon Johnson, Dominic Arbolino, and Eric Fischetti. And we are fortunate enough to be joined by Lew Freedman, the author of Connie, Mack's First Dynasty. Lew, how are you?
Great. How are you guys?
I'm doing good.
In a crowded room with all those people.
We are over occupancy here. But what exactly is your book about?
Connie Mack and the First Dynasty of the Philadelphia Athletics, which was before everybody who's listening was born.
Definitely.
That's a long time.
Yep. Over 100 years.
I'd be shocked if you had a listener who was 115 or 120.
And maybe. You don't know. Very possible.
Fun, wouldn't it? They'll call in.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, my goodness gracious.
Oh, okay. So what can you tell us about Connie Mack?
So this was really the good old days, in the really the first decade of the American League's existence. People forget the American League was actually an expansion league. It's been so ingrained in our memories for all of our lifetimes. But Connie Mack was a baseball player in the late 1800s. Growing up in Massachusetts, he was a catcher, and he was a really good fielder. He knew the game well, and a very average hitter. And he followed the path that many catchers would follow in future years of becoming a manager, because catchers have the best vantage point on the game. And he happened to know the right people right when the American League was being formed in 1901. So he got in the ground floor of management there with a little bit of an investment in the team financially, as well as being the guy who ran the team on the field. So he had been at it for almost a decade before he assembled this fabulous group of Hall of Fame talent.
All right, so can you lay out for us the career of Frank Home Run Baker?
Frank Home Run Baker, who was basically a third baseman and basically not a home run hitter, but had the good fortune to hit a few very timely home runs during one World Series, and that's where he got his nickname. It wasn't because he was hitting 50 home runs a year like Babe Ruth. He was playing in the dead ball era. He did lead the league in home runs several times, but there were totals like 8, 12, things like that. That was very much the standard of home run hitting before 1920 and before the Babe Ruth revolution.
All right, and would you be able to describe to us the career of Chief Bender?
Chief Bender was a fascinating figure. He was a Native American, and in that time period, if you think about it, that was not very many years removed from the Plains Indian Wars. And, I mean, the frontier by historians, as they called the West, was declared to be closed only in 1890, and because that was a representative comment of that it was the end of the wars on the plains and manifest destiny and American expansion was taking hold in those areas. And he comes along in the early 20th century, so there's still a bit of residue of prejudice that he had to put up with. Not to say that it's all cured throughout America these days in every way, but he was a quiet guy, but he was a terrific pitcher. He stayed in the game for a long time, had a very close rapport with Connie Mack until the end of this particular dynasty period we're talking about of 1910 to 1914, and he left for the upstart Federal League. But they had a rapprochement, and Chief Bender was still a pitching coach for the A's as late as 1950.
talking to Lew Freedman, the author of Connie Mack's First Dynasty. So what can you tell us about Eddie Collins?
Eddie Collins was a rare college guy back then. Most of the players in the earlier days of the major leagues were really guys who came off the farm in rural America. He was a fabulous second baseman. He was one of the best hitters of his time. I think his lifetime average is about .333. And for many, many years, he was considered the best second baseman in baseball history. And he was also, if anybody followed the Black Sox scandal later on after he got traded to the White Sox, he was what they call one of the clean Sox, who was not a participant in throwing the World Series.
But played like garbage in that World Series. No one remembers that. No one remembers
it. It didn't matter that he wasn't throwing it. He was playing badly.
Yeah, and Joe Jackson, no one remembers this. Shoeless Joe Jackson hit the only home run in that World Series. Absolutely no one remembers that.
And I think he batted .375.
Yeah.
He always pointed to that as evidence that he was trying.
The game stats are inconclusive. That's all I'm going to say. And they were acquitted. It's that simple. They were acquitted.
That was a Chicago jury, heavily weighted in their favor. So, I don't know. That was sort of a murky trial result.
Well, Chicago back in those days was very corrupt. I'll give you that. But, Brandon, go ahead.
Yeah. Can you lay out the career for Eddie Plank?
Eddie Plank is a fascinating guy, too, because up until Lawrence Spahn became the winningest left-handed pitcher in the early... Well, when he retired with 363 wins in 1965. Eddie Plank was the winningest left-handed pitcher of all time. He won 326 games, I believe it was. During that period when the Federal League was in existence, around 1913, 14, 15, they were considered a major league, much like the American Football League was retroactively considered a major league when they went up against the NFL. And he won a bunch of games there at the end of his career, too. But he won almost all of the A's. And he was just like this mainstay of the staff for year after year after year. A lot of people changed out on the roster around him, but Plank was always there for Connie Mack.
All right, so would you be able to describe the career of Jack Barry?
Jack Barry was, on those A's teams, that's what they called the $100,000 infield. And these days we would laugh at that, of course, because even if we called it the $1 million infield, we would be underrating their paychecks, right? So he was the shortstop on that team, and he was the one who was more of a fielder than a hitter. I think I'm not positive, but I think the best year he ever had was hitting about 270 once, 265 to 270. So the first baseman, the second baseman, the third baseman, they were doing the hitting, and he was doing the fielding.
Yeah, exactly.
And he became a long-time college coach at Holy Cross, Massachusetts, after he stopped playing. He coached there for decades.
Jack Barry's single-season high for batting average was in 1913. He batted .275.
Yep.
All right, and what can you tell us about Amos Strunk?
Not a lot.
Oh, man.
Not a lot is known about him, I know that, but he did have one heck of a career.
Well, he was, the outfield was not the strength on those A's teams. The pitching and the infield were the dominant aspects for them. And they did have several guys come passing through there, but Amos Strunk was there for the good times. He was regarded as a terrific fielder from everything I've ever read, but, it's really hard to gauge guys' fieldings when they played so long ago with the inferior gloves, and it was a totally different world. He had some good hitting years, but he was not really a big power hitter. But that, as we just discussed, nobody was a big power hitter. But he was definitely a key part of those teams.
Talking to Lew Freedman, the author of Connie Mack's First Dynasty. And, Lew, I'll get you out on this. Can you lay out for us the career of Stuffy McGinnis?
Stuffy McGinnis is one of those guys that one of these days, I would hope, the Veterans Committee puts him in the Hall of Fame.
Wow.
He was kind of overshadowed by, guys like Home Run Baker and Eddie Collins and the other pitching Hall of Famers, and Connie Mack, too. But he was a great player, and they actually did not become the $100,000 infield until he became the first baseman. And from what I've studied about his career, he was one of the greatest fielders in baseball history at the position.